I'd like to welcome everybody to the June 13th, 2024 board meeting, and at this time, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Holloway?
Here.
Mr. Matheson?
Here.
Mr. Payne?
Here.
Mr. Reese? Here. Mr. Robinson?
Here.
Ms. Perkins? Here.
Okay, at this time, we'll all stand and have a moment of silence, and I'm going to ask Miss Vanessa Perkins to lead us in the pledge to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll move on to our agenda. Our next section is our public comment section at this point. We do have one form that's turned in, and it's Miss Donna Krotz, and it's concerning Laurel School, so you have the floor.
You know, whenever y'all met at Laurel School, people 2 weeks was supposed to come and do that septic tank or have something with it. It's been over 2 weeks, and school's gonna start less than a month. That septic tank has been doing this for approximately 3 years, if not more. And these kids have been playing in the sewer, a lot of them, where they run, they play, they do all this stuff. And, you know, I don't know why it's took so long for this septic tank to be fixed. I mean, I would absolutely be ashamed that it's not because of the kids. Then, since January, I have started on the parking lot. It needs to be done. It needs to be paved. We have kids. We have functionings like every other school, and we need that fixed. I know Joanne had made a remark that, what about Mountain City School? Well, I'm here to tell you, my daughter's 24. She went to school there at 3rd grade. You go up to the red light, you might get in, where Sherry and JP or whatever it is, you might get in at some time or another. You go down here, you're parked down here almost to Walgreen, you might get in there sometime to walk. I've been at the White Church, I've been at Cornette's, I've been Johnson County Bank, just to go in there and get it. Well, 8 years has come and gone where she's been in. My thing is, why hasn't something been done? This has been an ongoing thing from Mountain City for years and years. Instead of, you know, spending $1, $2, $3 million, how much the new thing cost, you could have bought land, you could have built something, a school, and with parking issues, and help resolve the parking issues. So that's a Band-Aid being put on that. Just like the high school. Let's make the library, take the library away. Let's make the 3 classrooms out of it. You got land that you bought, that where the school builds houses and sell them, and that's a good program. Don't get me wrong, that's a wonderful program. But take some of that land, build a new high school, let the middle school start going over there, and you have rooms, extra rooms to start programs that you want to start. I mean, it's just, I just don't understand. But the parking lot, I think, needs to be paved and done. Then, as you all saw, when you come in the gym floor, we had tile that was cracked, tile that was missed. Sometimes the kids for PE, they're barefooted or they're in their socks. And that's a danger. I mean, they could cut their feet. Anybody could come in and trip over that. You know, I don't want a yellow tile here. I don't want a brown tile there. We need our gym to be the same color and to look nice. Because every other gym in this school system has a nice gym. Laurel deserves one. We have been overlooked for so many years. It's time that we look at some issues and to do it. Now, the classrooms, I don't know how the classrooms look. I've only been in a couple of them. This year I'm going to venture into a new one. And that brings me up to another point. You know, I have no problems much in split classes. But what I do have a problem with this year in a split class, you've got third graders. If they do not pass this test, they may or may not fail because they get a second chance, I think, taking the test. Am I right or wrong? They get a second chance. They don't pass this test, they can either be withheld or they could go on to fourth grade. If they don't pass that test in fourth grade, they fail. I think, well, I know what I want. I want another teacher to pour into them, to help them, to let them, you know, to give them the resources and everything to pass this test. They deserve that. Even though it's a small class, they deserve that. And books. Why don't we have, I mentioned this last time, it's not going to hurt to get books for parents to see what the kids are learning. And if they bring home homework, honey, let's go to this page. Right here's what you're studying. Is this the answer? For them to go back and look at. And nobody, it seems like nobody's interested in that. We pour out to Mountain City, and it's not Gay's fault. Gay's a principal. She's a wonderful principal. Don't get me wrong. But each and every one of you's up there. I would be ashamed to pour out this much money on one school and not look at the other schools and their need. And I would be ashamed to be Laurel's representative and not stand up and say, this is what we need. And I don't care what anybody says, Cold Springs is divided. Half is Mountain City, half is Laurel. If I have a problem, then, you know, if John Holloway has a problem with his schools, he should come back and he should say, okay, we've got a problem here. What are we going to do? You all are there to talk about it and to fix it. Not one person has stood up for Laurel. Not one. And Russell, I'm sorry, you haven't stood up for Laurel.
I disagree with that.
It doesn't matter if you spend $1,100 at a thing. I spent more than that. But the thing about it is, these things right here, you should be yelling about. You should be saying, where's he at? Mr. Healy, when are we going to get on this? When is this person? School's going to start. When are they coming to fix? Because we've got 88 kids.
We know what, we got the answer to that if you'll give us time to deal with it.
Well, I look through here, but I do want the answer to it. I want to answer why Laurel School is always at the tail end. And I've had parents to call me and say, "What if you run, what are you going to do?" My parents is number one. My kids down there is number one. The teachers are number one. But somebody's got to stand. And it starts up here with you all. It starts right up here with you all. And you've got to stand. Or either you're going to hear me every time there's a school board meeting, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? Because our kids are just as much important as Mountain City, Rome Creek, or Doe. We might be a smaller school, but they're just as important as any other school around. And you know, you all got to stand. You got to do something. If you can't stand, but you can throw money here, throw money there, then throw it to Laurel. I will show you exactly what needs to be done, and if I don't know, ask the principal. She probably knows more than I do that what needs to be done. But these are the things that I know that we need, and we need to hold on to, and we need to fix for those kids. They deserve a good school. They deserve a nice school. It is a nice school. But there's just a few issues. but it is a very nice school.
All right, moving on, we're going to move to our number 4. We've got some recognition tonight. This is usually June is a solemn time of year because we're seeing folks that are retiring after years of service. And we're also going to see a change in our student board representative as well. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Simcox.
Vanessa, you come down. We did honor Vanessa at the senior awards night. We always like to honor our senior board rep at the June meeting. Vanessa has done a wonderful job. She has been so creative in her presentations, and she always has something very interesting in her PowerPoint, and she's done a wonderful job, and we're going to miss you so much. So on behalf of the school board, we thank you for everything. And Jackson's gone to some
He's
kind
still
of
out of town.
out of town. Yeah. And he'll be the senior rep next year. And Julia Cruz will be our junior rep. And Julia's here tonight, so Julia, you're welcome. So, thank you, Vanessa.
All right, we also are going to do some recognition of some retirees.
Okay, at this time, I do want to read about our 11 retirees. And if you're here, if you'll come on down and stay up here. And I don't think Miss Jane is here. But Jane Campbell came to work for us in 2000 as a custodian at Doe. She transferred to Laurel in 2004, where she has felt right at home ever since. She's been a huge asset to our school since she's been with us. The students and staff at Laurel will miss Jane's smiling face daily and all the help that she gives everyone. She has 24 years of service with us. So thank you, Miss Jane. I hope you're watching. I think Miss Mary is here. Mary? Yeah, come on down, Mary. Mary started full-time with us in 2012 as a one-on-one assistant at Rome Creek Elementary. She's an amazing assistant with our special education students. Her personality the kids love and respond to very well. She will be ending her career with Johnson County Schools at the high school working with a student, and she has been with us for 12 years.
But they're proud.
If you'll stay up there, Miss Mary, we're going to get a big picture of everybody. Mark? Mr. Mark Humphrey started with us as an assistant in 2004, then moved into a teaching position in 2005. He's worked in a few different roles, but has been at Johnson County Middle School ISS the past few years and has coached and has done a great job. And I think he's going to continue coaching. He has 20 years of service with our school system.
Selma Humphrey,
All right.
Belden's brother. Okay.
Miss Marty? Miss Marty McQueen started with us in 1996 as a substitute. She then moved to a part-time special education assistant at Shady Valley Elementary. She then served as the middle school ISS instructor for a short time until she became an assistant at Laurel. She is finishing up her career at Laurel as an assistant, which will be greatly missed, and she has 28 years of service with us.
We got
Hey, Marty.
Come on this side. Okay, Miss Edna Miller. Miss Miller has worn so many hats in our school system, from teaching to being a principal to the family resource and attendance coordinator. She has done a great job even when she had to be the ugly lady dealing with the students and kids not wanting to come to school, and she was making them. She's done a great job in all the positions that she's been asked to fill. We wish you the best and all the luck. She's leaving us with 32 years of service. Lori Plank. Lori started as a teacher the first 16 years of her career where she loved spending time with the little children. She then found herself in the supervisor role at central office where her teachers have loved having her as their role model for the past 22 years. She is one of the most loved and kind ladies you'll ever meet and the funniest. And she wants to do what is best for all the children. She has served with us for 38 years.
Woohoo!
She will be Miss Mary Ann Robinson.
Yeah.
Miss Robinson, like the others, have served many roles as teacher to principal and assistant principal in our system. She has done a great job wearing all her hats in the many years she has served with our system. She has done a great job coordinating with schedules and after-school programs, just to mention a few, and for the grants to get extra equipment for the children to have in the after-school program. She will be greatly missed by students and staff. She's leaving us with 30 years of service. Miss Leanne Shell. Miss Shell has spent many years helping our special education children in different locations. She's always been very willing to help where she has been needed, and the kids love having her. She will be missed by many, and her dedication to us will also be missed. She has been with Johnson County Schools for 32 years. Miss Teresa Stansbury, I don't think Miss Stansbury is with us tonight. She started with Johnson County Schools after retiring from North Carolina. She started here in 2012 at Mountain City Elementary as a 4th grade teacher. She was an amazing teacher and the kids loved her. She later went to Doe Elementary as the principal, where she was there for a few years and then transferred to the middle school. She served there until this year, where she asked to finish her career at Run Creek Elementary as assistant principal. She had 12 years of service with our system, so thank you, Ms. Stansbury. Timms. Miss Tim started her career with Johnson County Schools by spending a few hours a day at Mountain City Elementary and then traveling to Doe for the first year. Then after the first year, she went full-time at Doe and has been there ever since. She was a special education teacher for the first several years, then went on to be a regular education teacher and is now an RTI teacher, finishing up her career with us. She is one of the sweetest teachers you will ever meet, always having a positive attitude and a smile on her face for the children and staff. Doe Elementary will really miss you, Missy, as will we, and your dedication. She's been with us for 32 years. And then the last one, I don't think is joining us tonight. This just happened this week. Miss Gay Triplett has been with our school for many years. She started out as a teacher at Dry Run School. She then moved to Mountain City as a science teacher for several years, where she then became an assistant principal to Miss Emily Millsaps. Later in her career, she became the principal at Mountain City, where she has done an amazing job for many years, and her teachers and students love her, and she will be greatly missed. She has been with our school system for 38 years. So thank you, Ms. Triplett, for your service. So the total years, the board always likes to hear this, the total years of service of our retiring teachers is 298. So lots of dedicated educators. And thank you all for everything. We'll be great.
She got off to
You'll be doing July's, right? Okay, well, he should be back. Okay. Tonight. Yes.
Mark, how's it going, buddy? Here you go, bro. But you're gonna hang around to coach a while, right?
Okay. Exciting things coming along for you.
Hang in there, son.
Good.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. Here's this thing. I'll put it down. Go leader.
We gonna do fire?
Just do it.
I didn't know about Gabe retiring.
I didn't either.
It happens Monday.
I didn't know that.
I have to. Are we doing this? Okay.
certified her application.
Wow, I didn't see her till just now. I'm pretty sure that's her, right?
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to the rest of our agenda. Our next item is item number 6, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion that we approve the agenda?
Russell, sir. We're gonna do the, oh, we already did.
We're going to
Yeah.
have.
I've seen
I
it.
did hers first.
I will note that before we approve this, I've been asked to flip-flop items number 10 and 11. Number 10 will be the FRC report, number 11 will be the bullying and harassment PowerPoint update. We're reversing those because of the way they're set up in the PowerPoint. Other than that, do I have a motion that we approve the agenda?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
I have a motion by Mr. Payne, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Holloway. Any further discussion, comments? If not, call the roll, please.
Mr. Holloway?
Yes.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Ms. Reese?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. Item number 7 is our consent agenda. We've all had a chance to look over this. Is there any particular item that anyone wants to pull off for us to have separate discussion on? Hearing none, do I have a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we approve it as written.
I have a motion by Mr. Payne. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Reese. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Holloway?
Yes.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Ms. Reese?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. Item number 8. And I guess this is our last one,
This is
too.
her last one.
This will be our last one, our report of our student board representative, Ms. Vanessa Perkins.
So with school being out now, it's just happening in June, so I just wanted to do a recap of graduation. These are just a few pictures that were taken before and during and after. It's cool to see everybody together. There were lots of excited people. Yeah, and then just happening this summer at the high school, we've already had basketball camp, which was at the end of May, and then cheer camp is coming up July 17th and 19th, and volleyball camp is June 18th to 20th. I just wanted to say I'm incredibly thankful for this opportunity to be the student school board representative for Johnson County, and I'm glad to have the chance to engage with both students and teachers throughout this role to help share the successes and joys of the high school with the school board. And it's been very rewarding for me, and I deeply appreciate and I'm thankful for all those who have helped me along the way. Just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've done a great job.
Yes, that's great. All right, moving on. Item number 9, approve the TSSE, which is the Tennessee School Systems for Equity membership dues for 24-25. Dr. Simcox.
Yes, and this is just the small suits that we've been involved with for 20-plus years. It's definitely a huge benefit to us, and we received approximately about $250,000 each year for being a part of this.
All right, hearing that explanation, do I have a motion that we approve these membership dues for 24-25?
I'll make a motion that we approve this membership dues for 24-25 too.
All right, I have a motion by Ms. Reese. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Holloway. Any further discussion or comments? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Holloway?
Yes.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Ms. Reese?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. We're going to flip-flop items 10 and 11, so number 10 will be the FRC report for 23-24.
You want me to click, or you want to click? Okay.
Each year we like to give a review of what the Family Resource Center has done. This year we have served unduplicated 312 students. The families that we have served unduplicated are 244. We do make referrals to outside agencies because there are things that we just do not have the capacity to meet. So you can see the referrals that that we have made. Housing assistance 10, that was a big for us this year. And Keisha Rudy has done all of these referrals. Keisha will be taking my place next year as the Family Resource Center Director. So it's going to be left in awesome hands. The direct services, you can see we met a lot. Basic necessities 122, case management 51. The case management, that is where we worked with the same families throughout the school years, throughout the school year for different reasons, and that does include our homeless population. So the family literacy activities, that was for pre-K only because in the action plan for the state, we do have to have a readiness, and so we always team with pre-K and with the senior center. So they have a book buddy program. If you don't know about that, I think this is the second year we've done that. I don't know who loves it the most, the kids or the senior citizens. We had 20 partnerships this year. We do have to have a lot of partnerships. And I'm just gonna have to tell you, with all the hats that I have worn, again, this is Keisha. Keisha has gone out and got all of these partnerships for us. My husband is here with Big Donkey Trading Company. I just want to tell him thank you in person. He has donated, and Frito-Lay, the guy that he works with, have donated, I cannot tell you how much food. And Greg has transported that from Boone to here, and gas is not not cheap for a truck like that. So just want to say thank you to all of these. Are there any questions about any of those that we partner with? We did have 15 plus volunteers that did help us. This does include the volunteers over at the Senior Citizens Center that read. It does volunteer the people like Greg that are bringing products to us. Our sources of in-kind, you can see our faith-based, our business, our nonprofit, our government agencies, our individual contributions, and then our in-kind was $7,757, and I think that says a lot for our community. The grants and the funding, faith-based, we did have church that gave us $100. Several businesses gave us money, so they gave us a total of $600. The East Tennessee Foundation, which is what we bought all of the books with for pre-K, and the food and pretty much everything we needed, they gave us $5,000. So the total of actual funding was $5,700. And the bullying and complaint data, before I go into that, this is hard for me. And I just want to tell you that, I thought I knew everything when I came in, until I started as the Family Resource Center Director. Even as principal, I thought, well, I know these homes and these kids, but until you really get to see these homes, I've had a board member that's sitting up here that has actually bought it out of her own pocket, given it to me. I've had another board member call me with his concerns about a student that someone had called him about that he was concerned with, so we made home visits. So I just want to thank the board for helping me to help these kids. And we'll say this and then I'm going to shut up about this. You all are very familiar with the song for the hymn, Count Your Blessings. One of the biggest blessings God has ever given me was to work for this school system. And it has been a blessing since day one. And I just want to tell you that. So I know there's a lot going on right now, but it has a blessing for me to work in this school system and to work with the parents and the students that I have. And they will always be my kids no matter what.
Serena's crying. You got Serena crying?
I'm sorry. I wasn't gonna do that, but I just want to tell you thank you for the opportunity for working with the school systems for the school board.
She will be greatly missed.
Now the bullying and complaint data, and I'm sorry that this is so little. I do have a copy of it if any of you all want it, and then copies can be made because today is my last day, and so I'm gonna leave after this. So our numbers of bullying did raise this year. So you can see, and I'm gonna have to read it from here, I apologize. The total number of harassment, intimidation, bullying, or cyberbullying cases brought to our attention this year were 12. Every single one of those were investigated, and 11 were seen as actual bullying. Out of those, number 3, none of those were involved because of race, color, or national origin. Number 4, the total number involving sex or gender bias discrimination was 1. Cyberbullying or anything involving disabilities was 0. And if you will notice number 6, I'm sure this is going to jump out at you, with an electronic device was 8. And that was at one school.
Excuse me just a minute. And what is that number 6, total number of harassment, intimidation, bullying, cyberbullying?
Okay, that is where they actually use technology to do the bullying. So, they were getting on a device and bullying a student. Several students were in on this. So they were using a device, just like their cell phone or a Chromebook or a laptop. But that's what that was.
Now, where they get this device at? I mean,
some of it was done on phones, I think, and some of it was done on some Chromebooks. And I think with the policy with the phones next year, hopefully we will see a huge drop in that. All of those were, let's see what number I'm on, number 8. All of those were investigated within 48 hours because that is a law. And all of the intervention or appropriate intervention, punishment, whatever you might want to call that, that all was given within a 20-day period. Total numbers still pending. We don't have any right now because I've already sent this to the state and school is over. The total number of harassment, intimidation, bullying, and cyberbullying cases resulting in any disciplinary action other than out-of-school suspension including but not limited to student-parent conference, in-school suspension, and safety plans for 12. So you can see we had 12 incidents. Only 11 of them were actually found to be bullying, but all 12 were punished. None of them were resulted in out-of-school suspension, and none of them resulted in out-of-school suspension more than 10 days or less than 10 days. And this is exactly what was sent to the State Department.
good job.
Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, item number 12 is our 5-year plan update. Summer professional development trainings and teacher academies will be posted on our website. Dr. Simcox.
Yes, as part of the board's 5-year plan, that is one of the strategic items on the plan. And I have the link down below, but I've also asked Norm, he's posted it on the website. But you can go to our website. This is in my Friday fact sheet every Friday that goes out to all employees. They can sign up for these. We've had it on there for probably a month now, and we have several. I thought he had it on there. Is it on there? It's not there. But if you hit that link, it will give you our website. It's under forms and links, and it will show you all the staff development that we offer. And our teachers and our assistants have a Google document that they can go in and they can sign up for. So that just gives you an idea. And if you'll just scroll down, Norm, this is just offerings that we offer in our school system through the summer for all of our employees. And it's based on the survey that we do that goes out to all of our teachers and our assistants, asking them what they would like to have this summer. So that's how we base that on. So that just gives you an idea about that. So just wanted to share that with you. That's all. No, that's on the end.
Okay. All right, moving on. Now, item number 14. Approve U-Trust annual premium contribution for...
13.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry, I missed one, sorry. Back up. Now, item number 13, second and final reading of Johnson County Board of Education Policy Committee recommended policy change for the following policy. Policy 2.601, fundraising activities, and they added a section about online fundraising to be in compliance with the internal school funds manual. Dr. Simcox.
Yes, and this is a recommendation and a requirement, not only by the comptroller, but by the auditor for us to include in our policy about crowdfunding, which is just has to do with online fundraising for our teachers.
And I had one thing on page 2 of that policy, line 13. I want to change the wording a little bit. It was a little confusing to me. It states an employee shall not engage in online fundraising for educational purposes in his or official capacity. But that makes it sound like that we don't want our employees engaging in online fundraising. So I'd like to remove for educational purposes, because what that's supposed to do is the idea of that is so people don't go out and use their official capacity as a teacher or a employee of the school system to do third-party fundraising, is what that goal is.
And we just used the wording that the auditor and comptroller gave us, but I did go back and look at the internal school funds manual, which is part of the comptrollers. That's what we use from the comptroller. And it doesn't have specific wording about educational purposes, so I think that those 3 lines can be removed, if that's what you all want to do.
So, and I talked to Tina about that, and she said that would work. That it made it more clear to me. So I'd like to make a motion we approve that policy with those 3 words removed.
So
On line 13, page 2.
Just so for clarification purposes, in other words, it will read, an employee shall not engage in online fundraising in his or her official capacity as a district employee or make any reference to non-school sponsored fundraisers online or otherwise would lead another to believe that such activity is an approved school fundraiser. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I have a motion by Mr. Payne with that correction and that deletion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Reese. Any further discussion or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Holloway?
Yes.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Ms. Reese?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. All right, now item number 14. Approve U-Trust annual contribution for 2024-2025.
Yes, and U-Trust is where we get not only our liability insurance, our workman's comp, our student insurance claims, our cybersecurity. They're definitely very detrimental to us.
All right, hearing that explanation, do I have a motion that we approve this annual premium contribution?
And we do get money back every November from them that goes out to the schools.
Yes, and the schools do get a benefit of
They
it.
do.
Yes. I make a motion to approve the U-Trust annual premium contribution for 24 and 25.
All right, I have a motion by Ms. Reese. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Payne. Any further discussion or comment? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Holloway?
Yes.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Ms. Reese?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. Item number 15, approve participating addendum number 81-358 for computer equipment and related services between the State of Tennessee and Apple Incorporated for the purpose of participating in the NASPO Value Point Master Agreement number 2303. This would allow Johnson County Schools to purchase through Apple Inc. Dr. Simcox, I
And
know
this-
the word mouthful.
That is a mouthful. This is just the contract that allows the technology department to purchase our Apple iPads that we use.
Hearing that explanation, do I have a motion that we approve this addendum?
Yeah, I make a motion, we approve it.
I have a motion by Mr. Payne. Do I have a second?
I'll second
Second by Mr. Holloway. Any further discussion or comments? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Holloway?
it. Yes.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Ms. Reese?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. All right, item number 16 is our first reading of some TSBA required changes to the following policies, and it's going to take a little bit, so I'm going to turn it over to you.
And these are required changes based on the state legislature motions that just ended. I do have the policies in the public chapters if you all want to look at those that go with each, but we are required to do these. So I'm going to go over each one of them, and there is a lot. There always is in the summertime. Policy 1.501, visitors to schools. State law requires boards to adopt a code of conduct for each school in the district. This code must be placed where visitors can see it. Our school attorney is providing this to us. And Chris McCarty actually sent that yesterday. I will print that out and get that to you all where I've been out of town and just got back like at 5 o'clock. But not only do we have to post that in every school, we have to post it at our ball fields too. So we will get that, once you all approve it, we'll get that out to the principals and they will post that. But I'll send that to you all electronically. Policy 1.800, school calendar. The state law requires districts to close on the day of the presidential election primaries. We already do that, but now it is in state law. We do that because they use our schools for polling places. Policy 2.403, surplus property sale. State law requires notices to also be placed online on a news and information website along with the newspaper. So we will have that link on under our forms on the website once y'all approve that in July. 2.806, bids and quotations. State law changed the bidding threshold to $25,000 to systems that have no centralized purchasing and $50,000 to systems with a centralized purchasing authority. Our policy will reflect the $25,000 bidding threshold because we do not have centralized purchasing. Policy 3.202.
Excuse me just a minute, Greg.
Yes.
Does the procurement officer not fall under centralized purchasing?
Does the what? I'm sorry.
Your procurement officer doesn't that?
No. No, we don't have the centralized. She's just our procurement officer. But everything still goes through the county.
Okay.
Policy 3.202, emergency preparedness plan. State law requires schools to develop procedures to work with law enforcement and fire departments to determine the cause of a fire alarm activation, including the potential for an active shooter event. We already do that because we work very closely with ours, and having SROs in the building helps with that, but now schools are required to do that. 3.205, security. State law requires the principals to immediately report certain types of assaults and certain acts of vandalism to the director of schools and local law enforcement, and there's a list of those that will go out to the principals. 3.400, student transportation management. State law requires buses to have visible notices that only authorized individuals may enter. We already have those on our steps, but that's not good enough. It's got to be posted where it's very clearly evident. So Stephen is working on that. 4.201, class size ratios. State law allows for greater flexibility in CTE class sizes for grades 6 through 8 to correspond with class sizes in 9 through 12. 4.213, which is family life education and curriculum. State law requires information on internet crimes against children to be incorporated into courses. It also prohibits topics related to sexual activities in grades K through 5. 4.214, this is a brand new policy for us and for most systems. Use of artificial intelligence programs. This requires all boards to create a policy on the use of artificial intelligence for instructional and assignment purposes, and Chris McCarty is working on that for us. we're getting there. 4.301, interscholastic athletics. State law allows independent homeschool students to participate in schools in accordance with TSSAA or TMSAA guidelines. We already do this. This is mainly a policy for systems that don't participate in TSSAA or TMSAA. 4.403, library materials. State law establishes standards for immediate removal of material if it contains content that's already defined in TCA 39-17-901. And Angie will share that with all the librarians. 4.600, grading system. This is a state Board of Education law that revised the percentage points for dual enrollment classes from 4% to 5% for calculating semester average grades beginning with the 24-25 school year. 4.603, promotion and retention. The state allows parents and or guardians to voluntarily retain their student in grades K through 2 if the student has a documented academic or behavior delay and the parent or guardian believes retention may benefit the student. It also creates a new promotion pathway to the 5th grade for students facing possible retention in the 4th grade with the new 3rd grade law. 5.307, the physical assault law. Leave. This law now extends to all employees. Previously, it was just available for certified. 5.701, substitute teachers. State law requires the substitute teachers to receive annual school safety training, and Angie does that anyway with our substitutes, but now we're required. 5.802, qualifications and duties of the director of schools. State law requires that a report be made to the State Board of Education if an educator in their system has pled guilty or been convicted of certain offenses. And I already do that, but that is state law now. 6.203, school admissions and policy. State law requires parents and guardians to provide information to the school if their students has been educated delinquent for certain offenses. And we have had issues with that in the past, so I hope that this will help solve that problem with the court system. 6.300, code of conduct. State law requires that assaults on school property, which is a misbehavior level 4, immediately be reported to local law enforcement and the director of schools. 6.309, zero tolerance offenses. State law requires that the threat assessment team determine whether a threat of mass violence is valid before the offense can be classified as zero tolerance. And we do have a threat assessment team. 6.316, suspension. State law allows for individual threats of mass violence to be considered a suspension. It also states that if a student assaults an employee, the student can be suspended from attendance at school-sponsored activities for 1 year. We already do that. If they're placed at our optional school or they're suspended, they can't attend school-sponsored activities. 6.318, admission of suspended or expelled students. State law requires that parents or guardians provide information to the school if they're enrolling their student and they have been educated delinquent for certain offenses. And then the last one, reporting child abuse. State law requires districts to report the names of the child abuse coordinator and the alternative child abuse coordinator to the Department of Children's Services, which we do anyway. And that is all those from the legislative session this spring.
Okay. Those being first reading, we will have those back next month in July for our second and final reading. Moving on, item number 17, approve the purchase of a Briggs Vanguard 40 horsepower Turf Tiger from Chilton Turf Center in the amount of $15,843 using state contract number 66015, vendor numbers 1265.
And I'm going to turn that over to Leon. It's my understanding that this piece of equipment failed.
This is an additional Skag lawnmower. We purchased one last year. This is an additional mower for the maintenance department.
And this is using their cleanup money.
Using what money?
Their cleanup from the maintenance
Oh,
department.
okay.
End of year. Hearing that explanation, do I have a motion that we approve the purchase of this mower?
I make a motion we buy this mower.
I have a motion by Mr. Matheson. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Holloway. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Holloway?
Yes.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Ms. Reese?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. Item number 18, consider all options for the paving at Laurel Elementary School. This was tabled from last month from our agenda on May the 9th, 2024, for discussion on approval of paving. And before we do that, I want, for the benefit of the audience, Leon, do you care, just for the benefit of the audience and the online folks, to give an update about where we do stand with this sewer issue at Laurel?
With the sewer issue,
Yes, as far as the contractor and all that.
okay, so we contacted Norwell after the meeting 2 weeks from this past Tuesday that we wanted to move forward with the initial phase of diagnosing and installing the vent at the top of the system and the isolation valve so we could isolate which field we're having issues with. We were told that they would start in approximately 2 weeks, which would be this week. They have not started. However, they do have, they told us they do have the supplies, but they are not going to start on that project this week. So that's where we're at with that.
I just feel that that's pertinent that the audience and the online folks hear that.
We're at the, I guess, the pleasure of Norwell now, so we do have to wait on it.
Yeah, we know
Unfortunately, we're in kind of a dry weather.
pattern too.
It looks like next week will be dry as well, so hopefully they can get things started on that.
All right, thank you. Sorry for that little sidetrack. All right, folks, we tabled this action last month. We discussed it at our work session that we had at Laurel that evening when we actually took a look at this parking lot and at the scenarios, as well as we got an update at that point on the sewer issue that we're having. So what is the pleasure of the board concerning this?
Well, initially, I'd like to do the whole lot. We talked about, do we need to pave it, or could we just gravel it? But I've been doing a little research, and if you just gravel it, you're running into a liability issue.
Yeah.
Because there's more liability on a gravel lot than a paved lot. Problem is, do we have the funds to do it this year?
Well, we'd have to get an architect involved.
Why would you have to get an architect involved?
That's what the auditor,
There's no construction going on the building. It's just a flat field.
It is a flat field, but they consider if you take a piece of land that's undeveloped and you're taking it from its state to develop it into something that changes its integrity. In this case, if you're taking this piece of property and you're going to force it and make it to withstand and hold up a parking lot, you're changing the integrity of that property, and the law says that you have to have an architect involved if it exceeds $50,000.
And it won't. I'm sorry, what was the last part?
What
If it
law
exceeds
says-
$50,000.
If it exceeds 50,000.
What
If it's
law
under
does that come
50,
out of?
we do not.
Say, Russell,
What's that?
you didn't have your ducks in a row before, but what law books that come out of?
I do not have the TCA reference in front of me. Tina, by chance, do you have it in front of you? I should have brought it downstairs.
and if Leon might, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, I thought Leon did.
622107.
Well, we need to do something down there, and I don't want to delay it.
So regardless of what we do, we have to have an architect, is that what you're telling me?
No, I mean, we have two options. One option was to pave the entire lot. The other was to construct a 18-foot wide driveway that would come in from the lower part of the lot and connect itself to the existing parking lot. 18 feet, my understanding, is wide enough that you can actually stack 2 lanes of vehicles on that. And that with, got an SRO that helps with traffic control, they could easily control that traffic to feed it back into the main parking lot to bring it on around, and that actually gets that traffic off of Gentry's Creek.
Well, that'd be changing the property there, wouldn't it?
It's under $50,000.
Yeah, it's under 50,000.
It's over 50,000 we gotta worry about.
I mean, I'm gonna be crucified either way that we look at this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I've had an opportunity, and I've watched some of the morning and afternoon video, and I know the problem's more in the afternoon, and there is an issue that the traffic does back off up onto Gentry's Creek. Now, I know that they made some changes with how they have the bus and all that stuff returning for that second pickup, which helped to alleviate some of that, but we still do end up getting vehicles creeping out onto Gentry's Creek. Now, Gentry's Creek's not a very highly traveled area, but still we do have vehicles that come out onto the road. Ultimately, I think we all probably in agreement, it would be great if that lot was paved, but we're gonna have to jump through the necessary hoops to do what we need to do. And I think, this is just my opinion, that we move forward with going ahead and putting the driveway in place. That will alleviate the safety concern, and that will give us a means of egress to get those vehicles off of Gentry's Creek onto that paved parking lane, and then allow the SRO to be able to do the traffic control that's necessary.
Tina, how much money is left in Russell's money there that we borrowed?
There's approximately $594,000 left in that.
$594,000.
It's
So it
not
sounds to me
Russell's
like
money,
we
it's the
got the
county's
money.
money, it's the school system's money.
It sounds like we have the money.
What money's that?
That's that 800 and some thousand that Russell borrowed.
Russell didn't borrow it. We were required to put it there to meet
Russell
audit
borrowed it,
standards.
okay?
You're talking about the school?
Yes.
Because he
Had to
didn't
be
have
put in
enough.
there, so we.
We had to
Yeah.
put that in there to be able to show that we
Yeah.
had proof of financing for the
But
contract,
we did not use.
that unfortunately, we've not had to use.
So we got 594,000.
There's one more payment left, and it should be, I would think, less than $200,000.
Well, how much are they gonna be paying us back for being over?
Since May 8th, is that correct?
$500 a day.
$500 a day.
How many days has that been now? That's been over a month.
30.
Yeah, $500, that's a pretty good chunk of change.
2,500 a week.
Ching ching,
A day.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I make a motion that we go ahead and pave that parking lot down there for the people,
So,
the whole thing.
Can we use that money to do it?
Whatever hoops y'all need to jump through, what we could do is when the year ends, then we could put it into reserve.
But this cannot be completed until the next fiscal year, is that correct? Of the school system? It can't be completed by June the 30th, it has to be, I mean, it's not gonna be able to be completed. Am I correct?
Not if an architect and all that is required to be involved.
That's like 2 weeks.
So we've got till June the 30th, is that correct, for this year?
Yes.
Okay. And then the funds would have to wait until the next budget year starts.
We can, put it in reserves.
Okay. I'm just asking that question.
So what would we have to do to get that out of reserves to pay for this? What's the timeline and what's the process?
If we have it designated for that, then we would just have to take it to the county.
But we're gonna be
It would
crossing
have to be
fiscal
designated.
years, and we're gonna get into the fact that we won't have an approved budget by even the county legislative body until the earliest will be July the 1st. And then after that, it's at least 6 to 8 weeks for the county to receive the acknowledgement letter back from the comptroller's office that basically says that they agree with our levies and what we've got in that as a whole, to be able to free it up, to be able to do anything with it.
We
because,
usually,
But they'll
about the
let
middle
you-
of August is when we.
usually. about
They'll
the
let you
middle of
run off the present budget you have now until you get that approved.
we operate on a continuing budget resolution
Yes,
based on a
That's
quarter,
right.
the last quarter of these expenditures in each
Yes.
one of those, and we won't be able to do that because it's considered to be construction. And that's one of the things that's prohibited until we have an approved budget from the comptroller.
I don't see how that's considered construction.
Well, Gary, it is.
It's not, there's no building or nothing being built there.
You're constructing a parking lot.
Yeah,
It is
it is
construction.
construction, yeah.
I hate to say it, but it is.
Anybody with even just a backhoe's a construction, digging ditches.
Anytime you alter anything.
So if,
What's the last payment you think you're gonna be?
I'm not really sure. I would think 200,000 or less.
So that'd leave me somewhere around 300,000, 395,000 to do that. I think we've got the money there.
Well,
Is that
we
gonna
may
mess-
have sewer issues at Laurel too, because we don't know what that's gonna cost. They've not even looked at it yet. I feel like that we need to look at that, because that could cost a lot of money. It may not cost much, but it could cost a lot of money, in the hundreds of thousands.
We're gonna fix it all while we're at it.
Well, has to be done,
Yes?
or they can't have school.
So we'll just fix it all while we're at it down there, help those people.
is that gonna delay the current budget if we did that? That's what I'm asking.
What do you mean?
I'm not very budget.
Oh, the approval of the current, of the upcoming budget, no.
Okay.
Because,
balanced.
one, we're balanced, we have approved it. It is set to go to the budget committee Monday,
17th.
and it is set to be presented, the entire county budget is being set to be presented next Thursday at the county commission meeting. So, I mean, the only thing we're doing is basically flip-flopping the money around, picking it back up and reserving it back out of our fund balance, and basically earmark it, and then we'll deal with it in the fall once we have an approved budget
No,
from
what
the
you're trying to
comptroller.
do is dance around this thing so you won't be doing it. That's what you're doing.
No, Gary, we're not. I'm just
Yes,
trying to
you
make sure
are.
that we're in compliance.
Hang on.
Yes, you
guys.
are.
Come on, we'll get
Just wait a minute, let's talk about this civil.
Board right there.
No comments from the audience.
Well, I'll make one if I want to.
And I'll ask that you
No,
please
you won't.
refrain.
No, you
Calm
won't.
down,
Don't you
guys.
say that.
Let's calm down.
We're good.
Let's talk reasonable.
All right, Mike,
It'll
go
be the
ahead.
last, it'll be the last one you ever move out.
I'm in agreement with Gary, we need to pay the whole thing if we can.
And there's no reason we can't. But we're gonna have to do the process correctly.
Okay, and how long will it take? We gotta get how long will it take?
We'll have to get an architect, which, we always use Shawn and Shanks, and Leon's already been in contact with them. So we would have to he's already actually talked to Tom. Yeah, we could, we just reached out to him because that's who we always, but it doesn't have to be them, that's just who we always reach out to.
He said he could get a proposal together fairly quickly, just an initial proposal, but as far as, getting it out for bid and that sort of thing, I don't know the exact timeline on that.
So if we do that, we're gonna have to redo the bids.
Yes.
You can't use that because it's not been through the architect's approval.
Specifications.
You can't use the present bid, right?
Cannot.
You could not, if I understand that right, Mr. Robinson, you could not use
No,
the
you
present
cannot.
bid.
It has to be with the architect.
He would
And they
read,
change
he or
the fits of
she,
the
or
ground.
which architect y'all decide to go with, they would rebid the process, rebid the whole parking lot, based on, the testing that they would need to do. I know they do some proof rolling and, they do some ground testing and that sort of stuff, and make sure the water's gonna be diverted to where they think it needs to be diverted to. That's, along those lines. All that's doable.
Yeah, we'll do whatever you want us to do.
Carry out what you want us to do.
Well, let me throw this out there. Could we if we go ahead and did the drive now and pursue doing the whole lot, would that increase the total? Or,
Two different processes,
Two different
two different processes. Do the
so,
18-foot and then later on finish the rest of it, is that what you're saying?
that's what I'm asking, yeah.
Yeah.
Or would it be better just to go ahead and say, let's pursue the paving the whole thing, and if we pave the whole thing, we're gonna have to make part of it the road anyway.
Mhm.
So how much harder would it be to go ahead and put this road in here, this, what are we calling this? Is it road?
Driveway.
Driveway?
driveway.
So would it increase the total cost to put the parking lot around it? I just would like to have something done by the time school starts. Get
Well, I
that-
think it's feasible we can have a driveway in place by the time school starts.
So if you did that, can you bid it out to finish it next year, at the beginning of the year? Would that be feasible to go ahead and,
I don't know the answer to that.
That's-
but I will interject. If you know, just thinking, if you do have like some pavement down, like at the extended pickup lane, I don't know if that would cause a problem for the architect when he came in to wanna do the rest of it. If he said, well, it's already got pavement on this area, you need to look at it. You know, that may cause an issue with him, I don't know. He may say you need to tear that up, and I don't know that.
Start over.
Start over.
How long would it take to get an architect?
Just make a phone call.
Just be based
Well,
on
tell you
when
what
they
you
can
do,
come up.
Leon, you make a phone call and get us an architect lined up, okay?
Let's,
I'll make a motion that we,
you gotta withdraw the other one?
Need to withdraw
You
the
gotta
first
have to
one.
withdraw
you
the
have
other
one
motion.
too in there. Did you
No, I didn't make it a
You
final, it was
didn't
just a
make one.
You did
suggestion.
make a final, okay.
need to, yeah.
I'll make a motion that, Mr. Henley line up an architect to look at this project.
And withdraw your other motion?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I want to hear the whole motion.
What he
What
done,
we're
he,
doing,
he
what
with- he
this
withdrew
motion
his motion,
He's
and then
withdraw-
he's
he's
made a
withdrawing his first
motion.
motion. And then he's making a motion that we authorize the director of schools and her staff to pursue an architect to at least come up with a preliminary draft and a cost estimate of what it would cost to pave the parking lot.
Is that all we're doing?
At this point, that would be all that we'd be authorizing them to do.
Now, is that the
Just to get an
140 by
Just to get an
140 or the
architect.
whole
Get a-
thing?
That's the whole thing.
The whole
An
thing?
estimate.
And get an
For the
estimate to
whole thing.
pave the whole parking lot, to pave it all.
That's all we're doing,
That's all we're doing.
okay.
I'll second that motion. How's that?
Good deal. That's what I think.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I have a motion by Mr. Mathis and a second by Mr. Payne to authorize the director of schools to acquire an architect and get us a preliminary estimate to pave the entire parking lot. Or is that where we're in agreement with,
Yep.
correct?
That feel over.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Holloway,
Yes.
Mr. Matheson,
Yes.
Mr. Payne,
Yes.
Ms. Reese,
No,
Mr. Robinson.
Yes. Now, we still need to deal with item number 18. At this point, we have two bids that the board, at this point, needs to reject, because we're gonna start over the process with an architect. So we're at least then that clears that off of the books. So do I have a motion that
Can
we
we table it
reject-
again?
Well, we can table it, but I mean, the only thing we're doing is just, I mean, we're not, it doesn't help the contractor. If we're not gonna pursue doing it as it was bid the first time, and we're gonna pursue an architect, then we need to basically reject those bids to where then the school system can notify the contractor that we're not gonna move forward with it as it was originally bid.
I'd kinda like to table it again, that way we can keep this, bid intact
but you won't.
for the drive, if
You
we need
won't be
to.
able to keep the bid intact.
We can add it to July.
You can't keep it intact,
Agenda.
right,
Yeah.
because
The way
you're gonna
you
have to
want
get
it.
an architect.
If
With
you're
the
gonna get an
architect, yeah.
architect and you're not gonna do that, That's not gonna,
It can be another item in itself.
Because the architect will bid it out.
right, he'll have to bid it out.
And I mean, and I don't know how long did the specs require this price to
Yeah,
be held firm?
I don't know. How long were the specs on that, Leon? How long were the specs on the
30
original?
days?
It's usually
Bids.
30 to 60.
How long was it stay?
How
On
long?
the original?
I talked to the contractor, he said if you went with the lower bid for just the drive, that he could do that by the end of the summer, before school started. That was originally we had said June 30th. However, it was tabled last month, so we knew that probably wasn't gonna be a possibility to get that done by then, so I called and said, if this is approved, would you be able to complete it by the time school started? And he said, yes.
So, Mr. Payne, do you wanna table it again?
Yeah, let's just table it
Okay.
again. We can reject it later.
All right, I've got a motion by Mr. Payne to table this item to the July meeting. Do I have a second?
What are we tabling now?
The original bids. Just in case you don't come through,
Just in case something happens, we'll handle. We can
in
move.
case we can move with the same bid.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Mr. Holloway?
Yes.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Ms. Reese?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. Budget update. We talked a lot about budget.
The school department at the end of May was 85.3% revenue received and 71% of appropriations expended in general purpose school fund, 72.4% revenue received and 78.9% of appropriations expended in federal projects, 78% revenue received and 82.1% of appropriations expended in central cafeteria, and Head Start, which is the fiscal year project, was 92.2% revenue received and 89% of appropriations expended for the month of May. You each have the sheets here that lists each of the projects and how much is in each category. You also, in the very back, you have your local option sales tax information with your property tax information. And let's see here, sales tax for May was $125,322. And property tax for May was $11,606. On Monday, we will be taking our budget to the County Commission Budget Committee. So if any of y'all could join us, it begins at 5:15.
In this room? Yeah.
It's here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's here. I guess, I'm sorry, I got lost here. Moving on, Director.
I just want to share an update on Mountain City Elementary. They have gotten bleachers in this week. I do not have a picture where I've been out of town, but I will have that for you next time, but they do have the bleachers in. This just shows the epoxy floor in the restrooms. This is the exterior view of the new addition. This is the gym floor once it's all polished, and it looks really, really good. This is the music classroom, which is also going to be all the specialties will be in this classroom. And that is it. I do want to say again, thank you, Vanessa. You have done a wonderful job, and we will miss you. And good luck at UT. She's going to be a great engineer. And then welcome, Julia. That's all I have.
I believe we have reached the end of our agenda.
Oh, excuse me. One other thing before we close. Have any of the board members received a call from a Kevin Potter
I haven't.
concerning the traffic down here on 421? I don't know why he keeps emailing me about it. I just told him, I said, I brought it up the last meeting, I said, no action was taken. And I told him, I said, what you need to do, I said, is get a hold of the board members in your second district. I said, that's the people you need to talk to. I said, that's under their jurisdiction.
Do I have a motion that we adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We're adjourned.
I'll be right back, guys.
I mean,